In a clash of two apocalyptic futures, nuclear warfare versus climate breakdown, could one paradoxically be the salvation from the other? Is a nuclear winter the answer to global warming?
The terrible, swift power of nuclear weapons has to be seen to be believed.
The terrible, swift power of nuclear weapons has to be seen to be believed. For most of us, it remains an unseen nightmare, yet the terror it invokes is universal. Every day we see evidence of another impending doom: climate breakdown. It's in our papers, it's on social media, it's on our television screens, and for many of us, it's happening to them directly. It's not hidden, it's not abstract, it's real and it is relentless. Yet every day, the silent scream of our planet as it buckles under climate breakdown meets with chilling indifference. The irony, the very greed that fuels wars and pours billions of taxpayers' money, my money, your money, our money, into defence and deadly arsenals is the same driving force pushing our environment to the brink. The exact same human greed, entitlement, selfishness and first world privilege that is driving this ecological catastrophe that will surely end in the same Armageddon as the mutually assured destruction of nuclear war. Would a nuclear winter be the answer to global warming? Of course it fucking wouldn't. But the bigger question here is, what would be the best end of day scenario? Should we choose nuclear or climate breakdown? Choices, choices, choices. Actually, there is a third choice, but we are running out of time to choose it. I mean, seriously, we are currently on a trajectory of just two scenarios, and they are not mutually exclusive. And if you take nothing else away from this video today, remember this: the main driver of conflict is not actually greed, but scarcity of resources. And climate breakdown is already bringing this to our doors with global and local food scarcity, which we are experiencing as the inconvenience of rising food prices. And let's look at how our governments are dealing with that. Food banks provided not by the government, but by concerned citizens. What is going to happen when this shit gets serious? We are seeing climate migration like nothing we have ever seen before in history. But nothing, and I mean nothing, like we will see in the coming decades. The boats will keep coming because people are not able to live, to survive in their native lands. Resource scarcity equals conflict, equals migration, equals division, equals societal breakdown. Unchecked or unresolved, we are actually looking at possible complete global societal breakdown in the next 2 to 3 decades. And you know what that means, folks. It means war with big fucking itchy fingers on big fucking buttons. But we still do have a choice. So let's compare our scenarios. Nuclear war. Immediate devastation. Within moments of a global nuclear exchange, major cities around the world will be reduced to ash, would be reduced to ash. Most cities and anything considered to be of strategic importance would be instantly destroyed. And if you live anywhere in the first world, this would mean you. Unimaginable human toll. We are talking about hundreds of millions of immediate casualties and deaths. And then you've got radiation and fallout. Radioactive fallout would contaminate water sources, farmlands and air. The lucky survivors would face the horrors of radiation sickness, vomiting, weakened immune systems, hair loss and unimaginable, horrible, painful, drawn-out deaths of almost certainly every living thing on this planet. Ecosystems collapse. Radioactive particles would kill off almost every species and every plant on Earth, leading to an almost certain mass extinction event. And then finally you have the nuclear winter. The fallout from a global nuclear war would create a nuclear winter, blocking out the sunlight that could last for decades, forcing the failure of any crops that might have miraculously survived the blasts and radiation. But that's enough about nuclear war. Let's talk about climate breakdown. Rising oceans. As ice caps melt and oceans warm and expand, sea levels will and already are rising. Entire island nations will be swallowed and coastal cities from New York to Shanghai will be inundated. Extreme weather events, superstorms, unprecedented heat waves and intense wildfires are already becoming the new normal. This is already happening. These natural disasters we once deemed as once in a century are already becoming annual occurrences. And more than that. And then we will have, and we already have mass migration and conflict. As habitats become unlivable and resources become scarce, there will be mass migration on a scale never before witnessed. This will inevitably lead to resource wars, border conflicts and unimaginable human suffering. Sound familiar? Ecological disruption. Coral reefs are bleaching and dying, eventually taking with them every last fish in the sea. We are already seeing iconic species like polar bears become extinct, and many ecosystems are already beginning to collapse. This is already happening. Starvation and disease. As droughts intensify, freshwater sources will diminish and agricultural yields will continue to plummet. Famines will become widespread, and without adequate nutrition, populations will be vulnerable to diseases, some of which might become pandemics due to changing climate patterns. Billions of starving people will go to even greater, more extremes just to survive. Tipping points. I'll put out a future video on climate breakdown tipping points or irreversible climate breakdown. But in very simple terms that most of us can relate to, it's like ignoring a toothache and hoping it goes away. If it's a cavity and you don't get it seen to, you will lose the tooth. We are approaching the tipping point on this big tooth we call Earth. Are we prepared to save it before it's too late? There is no planet implant, no planet dentures, no planet false tooth. Try eating that dead cow with just your gums. Choices. Both scenarios present a dystopian future where the very fabric of society unravels, ecosystems collapse, and humanity faces almost certain extinction. One scenario offers a quick, brutal end, the other a slow, torturous decline. But both scenarios are driven by the same human tendencies: blind ambition, denial, greed, stupidity, and short-sightedness. How would you like to spend our mutually assured destruction event? Or perhaps there is a third way. Just stop oil, just stop coal, just stop cars, just stop greed, just stop buying shit from China you don't need and then blaming China for burning fossil fuels to feed your insatiable appetite for shit you really don't fucking need. Just stop driving your kids to school in your SUV. Just stop abusing your first world privilege. Just stop being a selfish. Just start eating less meat. Just start walking to work. Just start cycling to work. Just start walking your kids to school. Just start embracing the 15-minute city, low emission zones, low traffic neighborhoods, and just start demanding that your politicians stop taking bungs from the fossil fuel industry, the weapons industry, the dairy industry, and the meat industry, and demand that they just stop subsidizing all of these same industry with your taxes. Choose life. Share what we have or share nothing at all, because when it's gone, it's gone. Extinction is forever. Extinction is forever. Do say, choose life. Don't say, I'm scared of the dentists. But what do you say? Let me know in the comments below. How would you like to spend the end of days? I don't really expect you to actually like this video. It is a little bit depressing. But if you could smash the like button anyway, that would be great and would give me a warm, fuzzy feeling inside. A bit like being in love, but not so intense. But subscribing, that's a whole new level of pleasure. So if you've got this far and have not subscribed yet, if you could do that now, that's like a big hug for me. And if you did actually like this video or just found it compellingly difficult, I think that might be an oxymoron.
You're an oxymoron.
Thank you. Anyway, you might like this one or even this one. Thanks for watching.
What I'd say to people is, judge me by my actions.